Alright, so new video for today. Gonna be upgrading the exhaust again. Now, current setup I have on this car is ECS downpipe that goes into the X pipe, and then I have the ECS mid muffler delete X pipe, and that ends up finishing up with the stock back boxes. But what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be having those down pipes, instead of going to that non-resonated X pipe, I'll have them go into this Flow Monster 2.5 inch resonated X pipe. Then I'm gonna have it Y out to a 3 inch single, and it's gonna go into this Megaphone. See if that helps with the tone. And then that is gonna go down further down into the car, and then split up again into some dual mufflers. And those mufflers I have down here. They're from China. These are the mufflers here. They got little solenoid flapper valve here. That way I can have them quiet whenever I need to be quiet, and then I just hit a button and the flap opens, and then I can have loud. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'm not really going to show much of the process. This is completely custom to what I want to do, and then two, I'm not a fucking good welder, so don't be taking tips from me. But yeah, I just want to see if going 2.5 to a 3 inch center section is going to change the tone, because these cars get raspy and they don't sound that great. So we'll see. So I was going to weld up some exhaust pipes, but my welder shit the bed, and well, it's not really the whole welder, but this capacitor blew. So I can't really wait to find and get one of those. So I ordered this Fanky inverter welding machine. It's like a 130 amp, I believe. Supposedly it's DC electric, and that's what I did to this Harbor Freight when I converted it to DC. So this is DC electro negative, but I should be able to change it around to make it electro positive, because I'm going to be running some stainless steel flux core wire from Art Captain. So from what I read online, to run that type of wire, it has to be DC electro positive and not negative. Alright, there you go. Put my gloves on. Like I said, I'm not a welder at all. I just do this shit for fun. And so, I mean, this V-band is stainless. This piece here is supposed to be stainless, but it's from Amazon, so who knows. Alright, man, that's the weld. And to be honest, this shit does a lot better job than the Harbor Freight one. I've never had weld come out looking like this ever. I don't know, man, this looks similar to this. So I'll continue welding this shit up. Yeah, I'm happy with this little welder. At this point, I have nothing bad to say about it. And I didn't change the settings either. I was gonna do, because right now it's running electrode negative, and I was gonna do it electrode positive, but I decided to run this like at this setting, and it's working fine. All right, so here are my booger welds. All right, and that was at 90 amps, right? 94 amps. So maybe I could go down a little more. This I did at 110 and this at 94 amps. And the wells look a lot better than these up here. Still some boogering going on, but like I said, I'm not a pro. I'm happy with it. I'll put links down in the description to the machine and also to the stainless steel flux core wire. Alright, there you go. That's the X pipe muffler into that Y and rebanded into the 3-inch section with the Megaphone, and it comes out through here. This is how far I've gotten. So it seems like it's damn near perfect where I need it to be. And I got the Y pipe here that will go here. So now I gotta make the 3-inch or have a pipe section here, and then the Y will fucking go to one muffler that I got right here, and then the other one to the other, and then these are my tips. Alright, so this is where I am currently at. Still haven't welded the tips in because I ran into a problem post my L's. So this diffuser here I bought off of AliExpress for about like 300 bucks shipped. It looked awesome, alright, except it had this third brake light down here that looked corny as fuck. So I filled that up, and while I was sanding I found out that it was carbon fiber. So my plan was to sand it down, put some clear coat on it, but when I went to test fit it, it didn't fit right. And you can see that I've cut it so I can try to match the contour of the bumper, but that would mean I would have to put in a lot of work to get it to fit right. And there's gaps here. You can see the top that this fit like this. So I cut it, seeing if I could just cut it into pieces and then just fiberglass it back up, but that would take too much time out of my hands. So I'm gonna take a loss with this fucking diffuser, and I ordered the ECS diffuser, which looks a little bit less aggressive than this diffuser here. So I'm waiting on that. Once I get that, that's when I'll weld in the tips. But what I'm gonna move on to next is installing the control box for the electric cutout mufflers. So I gotta find a place to put it up in here, and then also run wires to the mufflers. All right, so I was looking for a spot to run the wires through to the mufflers, and I found this grommet here in the spare tire well. So I popped it off. I'll put a hole in it, run the wires through. And as far as the control box, there's two cubby holes. One over here with fuses and stuff, and then on the other side you got, most likely, I believe that's the amp. Yeah, no, that's the amp. So this was pretty easy, putting the wires through that grommet. The end connector looks like this, right? So all you gotta do is get a flat head, small flat head, undo these little post crimps here, and then you're left with this. then you just put a hole in that grommet and push the wires through. Now the end connector, you won't be able to see it. If you're working with an S4, the end of that connector looks basically the same as the one that connects to the map sensors. So now that I got that going, I'll finish this up, and then I'll probably just test out the box first, make sure it's working. I'll plug this into the cigarette lighter, but I'm gonna hardwire this into one of these wires here, and then there's a ground right there that I'm gonna use. Got it wired up. Instead of using the cubby hole there where the amp is, I ended up going over here to this side where the fuses and relays are. Looked online to see where I could get a switched power source from, and this fuse right here, there's a black wire that when you turn the ignition switch on, it gets power. When the key is out, there's no power. This whole fuse block here is held in by this 10mm nut. If you undo it, you wiggle it out. There's two little tabs here that go into some holes that hold it up. So you just wiggle it out, flip it over, and find that black wire. I didn't want to tap into like right where the relay was, so I traced that little black wire back out to here, and I tapped into it. And then I ran my ground to where all the other grounds are, and then I used a zip tie to hold it in place, and it won't go nowhere. It's supported by this bracket here at the bottom, but I got my wires somewhat neatly wrapped up. They go down back here behind this trim, and then they come down out to there where that grommet was, and onto the mufflers, and well, they work. And that was very fucking easy. That was the quickest part of this whole process, and that's actually the quickest wiring up of anything that I've ever done. So very convenient, very easy, and this is just specifically for a B8 and also B8.5 Audi. So I'm pretty sure it'd be similar for A58 S5s, probably same thing for the A6 and A7s, but I'm not too sure about that. Just need to wait for that ECS diffuser, that way I can weld up the tips and then be done with it. Alright, so because of clearance issues with the exhaust, I had to modify the bracket here, cut a indent here for the V-band that gets in the way and hits, and added some spacers. Welding ain't pretty, but whatever. Alright, well here's the end result. Tips are in, diffuser is in, and it's looking nice. Oh, let's get some sound clips. doesn't seem that loud. Outside is a different story. So yeah, I'm really loving it. So here's 6th gear, partial throttle, the drone. It's not bad. I'm really liking that route I took. 3-inch center section with the Megaphone. Chirping the fucking tires with traction control on. It's fucking crazy. Alright, well, there it is. This exhaust took me several days to complete. Had some ups and downs, but I got it done. Here are some exhaust clips that I took after I finished up that center section. I was inspired to go with a single center section with a Megaphone after watching Fluid Motor Union here on YouTube. All of their exhaust setups with Megaphone sound awesome. So I really wanted to control the rasp these engines make and have a different note, and I believe I've done it. So links below, help support the channel, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.